What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Rick on the Rocks and Dad, season 2. 2 for you. I know you missed us. It's been a few months.
A long time.
May,
Much too long.
June.
We did movies. Did we do movies? Is that what we did in May?
We did. We did our Kevin Smith special, but I think that was in the spring.
Yeah. But
Anyway, we're back at it with our fantasy football draft special extravaganza and our summer movie wrap up.
Yeah.
Which we're not sure how this is going to go. We never do, but we're going to play it by ear.
Yeah,
So
the fantasy thing will continue throughout the season.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And hopefully with Rick on the Rocks schedule this year, we'll be able to be a little more consistent with it.
Right now we're looking at Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
To do our fantasy football shows. And then we're looking to branch out again into doing some more movies and things of that
and some other
sort.
things.
And some other things.
Yeah.
We might be cooking. Who knows?
Could be.
So, Dad, start us off. Fantasy football. You just said to my wife not a few minutes ago, ESPN just did what?
ESPN had 29 consecutive hours of fantasy football on ESPN and ESPN2, culminating with a 4.5 hour draft with 10 of their people. And
how did that work out?
They had a running total going, and around during this time that this was going on, they had somewhere around 2 million people draft teams on their platform. Now I play on ESPN myself.
Yeah.
I like to wait, and that's one of the things that I would say about preparing for the draft. I like to wait till at least the second to last week of the preseason. The last week of the preseason is pretty much all the scrubs and everybody else. By the end of, what are you doing?
My collar's killing me.
Well,
it's all
stop
over
it.
the place. I don't know what to do.
This is serious business,
All right.
and you're interrupting it.
All right.
I'm on
Maybe
a roll.
if I do it at a different angle. Go ahead.
You Quasimodo. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, if you wait till they've played all their preseason games, the last one where they put the scrubs in and stuff, you have the advantage to do your drafting in whatever league or however many leagues you're in. You have the advantage of knowing who's injured. There's already been some serious injuries, some people out for the year already, including one highly touted rookie running back named Geis, and some other regulars from some of the teams. You have that where you know who's out so far. You have an idea who the starting quarterback is going to be on each team, where there might have been some questions leading up to that. You know what rookies may be starting, or at least seeing a lot of playing time initially. And you just have a general feel for the teams. Don't put any value on results necessarily in preseason. It just doesn't really matter because every team is trying different things. So,
well, as a rule, we watch preseason games for how many minutes?
15 or less. You know, as a Bear fan, for instance, I'll usually watch the first quarter.
Right.
Yeah,
we talked about that. Okay.
Not looking any better than it did last year,
but people have faith. They have faith in the Bears this year.
Well, I'm getting the Cubs home, and then we'll worry about the Bears. So, the other thing you can pay attention to is mock drafts. You'll find mock drafts on both ESPN.com. NFL.com is a very good site for fantasy. They have great columns there. They have weekly stuff that's terrific. They've got some mock drafts up right now that are very good.
Who were, because we were talking about it, who to draft in the first rounds. And
let me tell you about a trend.
Well, I know that we had the interns. The interns gave us papers. The interns are working hard at Rick on the
we
Rocks.
got tons of paper.
They gave us pins with
highlighters. What's going on is there's been a seismic shift in fantasy over the last year. Yeah,
seismic shift.
That's good.
That's good.
And sounds like it ought to be a movie by The Rock.
Yes, seismic shift.
He's done Earthquake. He's done Skyscraper. So, but anyway, and the seismic shift is running backs who not only gain a lot of yardage running, but also are good pass receivers. In fact, excellent pass receivers, and get a lot of yardage that way. And that's been the trend. And as I was telling Rick on the Rocks here a moment ago, the mock drafts that are up on NFL.com and ESPN of the first 10 players taken in each one of those drafts, 7 of them are running backs, 3 of them are wide receivers.
7.
So what we're looking at is players like Alvin Kamara for New Orleans, who should be a top 2 or 3 pick.
Easy.
He gained 720. He didn't start the season as the #1 running back. Melvin Ingram did, who's actually suspended this year for a couple of games, I think. He started out the season as the #2 or 3 running back. He gained 728 yards rushing, but then he had 81 pass receptions. 81 for another 826 yards, and ka-ching, 19 touchdowns.
There you go.
Yes, 19.
There you go.
And guess who had him? Wow. I didn't draft him, though.
Wait, was he on our team?
He was sitting there. I think it was one of
I see how this is working out. I understand.
No, he wasn't available. Believe me, I looked everywhere.
I couldn't get him for our team.
Yeah. Kareem Hunt for Kansas City, same kind of thing, 1,200 yards rushing, 50 passes receiving. Leonard Fournette, who right now is projected to maybe be the #1 running back, had over 1,000 yards rushing.
I feel like they've been talking about him for months.
36 pass receptions, and he missed some time. McCaffrey, the running back at Carolina, had over 80 receptions. Dalvin Cook, the former Florida State running back, was off to maybe a historic season when he got hurt in game 4.
Absolutely historic.
So he already had 354 yards rushing in 3 games, and
was just unstoppable. But that's what happens when you go from the NCAA to the NFL.
And those were all rookies. Every one of the people I've just mentioned was rookies last year. Then some of the veterans were Todd Gurley, who had 1,305 yards rushing, 64 pass receptions, also 19
Gurley
touchdowns.
is not Gurley.
Yeah. Ezekiel Elliott, Jordan Howard,
Ezekiel
Elliott for Dallas, Jordan Howard for the Bears, David Johnson for Arizona, who's healthy again.
We actually got
Le'Veon Bell is.
You actually just mentioned a Bears person in the top anything. That was great.
Le'Veon Bell is the top 2 or 3 choice in all the mock drafts. The Pittsburgh running back, pass receiver, Melvin Gordon, Devontae Freeman. So that's what you got. That's what you got to look for. And
all right, and we talked about this our first show last year, but I think it's something that needs to be expressed and talked about. Quarterbacks. And I've there's Shaka. What's up, Shaka? Quarterbacks. So what happens is greetings to you, my friend. Nobody wants to grab a quarterback really in the first 4 rounds, 5 rounds.
If you listen to any of the fantasy shows or watch them, NFL.com, ESPN, Yahoo, whatever, XM, they all are talking about taking a quarterback in the 4th or 5th round.
Right.
The reality, and that's lovely, and they all do it when they do their mock drafts
Right.
and tra-la-tra. The reality of it is when you get in a draft room, as I will here in a week or two, several draft rooms for several different drafts.
Wiping sweat off his brow.
No, I mean, somebody in the first round is going to grab Aaron Rodgers,
Somebody's going to do it.
Russell Wilson.
Somebody's going to mess it up.
Once the first one starts, people are going to start grabbing.
It's a waterfall.
And you better get in there and grab one too. Ideally, to beat that trend, if you will, if you have a lower draft pick, say you're drafting 8th, 9th, or 10th in a 10-team league.
Okay.
Which means you'll also then be drafting 11th, 12th, or 13th because it's a snake draft.
Right.
Grab your running back at 8 or 9 and then turn around and grab a quarterback with your next pick. Okay?
We did that a couple seasons in a row, and it
Yeah.
worked out real nice.
The fantasy folk,
It pisses everybody else off.
yeah, that's just one way to handle it, particularly if it's already started, because there's enough good quarterbacks in the upper echelon. Although, by the way, Roethlisberger's already had his first concussion of the year,
Yeah.
which is not a good sign. So
It's too bad because he looked
yeah.
really good last year.
But you've got Drew Brees, you got Matt Ryan, you got Cam Newton, you got obviously Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers.
Man, they got Cam Newton right up there again.
And Brady. We've used Brady over and over again.
Yeah, Shaka agrees. I know it is. It's great strategy.
Yeah.
It really upsets people though.
Well,
it really, especially if you're like sitting around a table doing like a live draft. Like, it really upsets people.
That's the reality. I've heard this ever since I got involved in fantasy football 10, 12 years ago, whenever it was. I've the stuff I've read, the stuff I've heard. Well, you want to wait to draft a quarterback till the 4th or 5th round. It means, well, baloney. You know, I understand the concept, but the concept doesn't work.
Shaka, don't really? Matt Stafford? All right.
Yeah, well, good luck with Matt Stafford. Although who knows?
No, he's got skills. He's one of those that will show up and play an amazing game. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, you got Kirk Cousins as a Minnesota.
We
now.
were just talking about Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
You got Carson Wentz at Philadelphia. I mean, on and on. You can get a good quarterback.
Nothing else. We've got an exciting division to watch.
Yeah.
Thank God, finally.
One other thing I'd like to mention, and I do this in every sport I play in. By the way, I just happen to think about this. I won a league last year, an NFL league, 10-team league, by 0.9 points.
Yes.
I mean, I won the championship by 0.9 points. The 2-week championship after all the playoffs and everything, 0.9. That's how close some of this stuff can be, which is it's odd that you could go, all those weeks of playing head to head, then you have 4 weeks of playoffs, and after all said and done, you win by 0.9. So, and we had one a couple years ago that we won on literally the last play of the game.
It was
by a point or two. We won a championship. So.
It was that one running back that just retired.
Yeah. So.
It got us our points, and I mean, barely, like literally went here to there. But that's part of the thrill of playing.
Yeah, the point I was starting out to make is, I think it's good strategy to draft players off of teams that you think are going to be winning teams.
Yeah.
What's happening now in baseball, and of course I've got a couple of season-long teams in baseball, is that a lot of the teams that are pretty much out of it are bringing pitchers up from the minors. I watched a kid last night pitch by the name of Nix, who just got massacred. He didn't even make it out of the first inning. They brought him up, and that happens in the NFL, is they'll start playing rookies. They'll start putting guys in. They'll start getting ready for next season. And so even though they may have a top-notch running back, a wide receiver, a quarterback, they may not be, they're not in competition for the championship. And
you hear that 50-pound dog? He's like that big.
So
Shock has got a good point. We actually, that's happened to us with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. That when you have a quarterback that consistently gets you, and I know it's like 15 or 16 points every game, but when you can have a quarterback like that, it's so easy to build around him. And kind of our strategy is this guy trades so much.
Yeah, I'm a madman.
Yeah, he's crazy. Like we'll have like triple the other teams, but it works. And everybody's got their own strategy.
Another thing that happened last year, I think it was, is that I know ESPN did it. I don't know if Yahoo did it or what have you. DraftKings and FanDuel did not, the daily sites, but ESPN reduced the point totals for quarterbacks for touchdowns.
A lot of people were complaining about it. A lot of people.
I haven't even looked this year to see what the numbers are, but they were trying to keep it from being a quarterback league and spread out a little bit. So that's the only thing
It's just crappy.
Yeah. You just have to be aware of what the point scoring is for your league. That's all there is to it. And it's easily available. You just click on league and it should all be there.
So what are you thinking about our team this year?
Our team who?
We always do a team together.
Well, I know, but we haven't drafted it yet. So
we're going to. Here's Shock. I trade weekly or waiver wire, and that's absolutely the way to do it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
A lot of people don't have the patience to do it. That's the right. If you want to win, which we're both like big, I hate losing.
Yeah, I play.
If you want to win, that's how you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was doing that earlier today in one of my fantasy baseball teams.
Him his fantasy baseball.
Ian Kinsler's coming off the DL today and he's going to be
on the
playing second base for
I feel like
Red
I'm watching
Sox,
the movie Basketball. We're on the 14th month of the baseball schedule.
Yeah.
So I feel like how long
baseball
goes
on and on. I'm ready for football and hockey because it keeps going on and on. And plus, I do the daily fantasy stuff with all these sports.
No, you like that. I don't have. That's just one thing I can do it weekly. I can't do like daily. Just I don't have the patience for it.
So we're gonna just all you can do is you sign up and see what happens.
Yeah.
And do the best you can. And you've got to be prepared, like Shaka said here. You got to be prepared to make changes. If something isn't working, you better try something else. I switch kickers out every week practically.
We're big on that.
I switch defenses out every single week.
We've got defense down to a science. I won't even lie about that. We got that
based on matchups. You have to do that. You can't just use one defense and let it go with that. You have to look for matchups. It's just like stacking your baseball team against Kansas City or Chicago. I mean,
you're looking for diamonds in the rough. Absolutely, Shocker. You're looking for.
That's how I picked up Kamara in that one league last year. Is I was looking for something more than what I got, and suddenly there was Kamara. I grabbed him. I'll take a chance on this guy, and he just blew up. And that's what happened.
Yeah, he did.
Quarterbacks, I'll switch out quarterbacks too if I have to. If I don't have Brady or.
Well, you did a couple times last year. We pick up a quarterback that was hot playing a really bad team.
Yeah, another good strategy.
Yeah.
Alex Smith is my favorite to do that with. I love that guy.
And before so we're coming to the end of talking about fantasy, and that's we're giving you a little bit of what we're thinking in our mind. And we're going to talk a little bit about summer movies because Dad and I have seen quite a few. I wanted to talk about something that we brought up and I don't know if anybody else is talking about it, the California teams in the NFL right now. We're looking at some major talents in the I don't know what happened. The California teams all of a sudden. You know, we had San Francisco just blow up at the end of the year. We've got
Los Angeles
Rams. We've got the San Diego Chargers.
You got the Oakland Raiders.
And you got
soon to be the Las
Vegas Raiders.
And up the coast, you got Seattle, who, I don't know. Who knows? But
those are some teams to look at because there's a lot of really good hidden talent, and maybe some people. I'm trying to keep up with our comments here. I hate to say it, but you guys look pretty decent fantasy. Well, we might have some fantasy gems in the Bears team. Yeah, Shaka.
Shaka, in answer to your kicker question, yes, I agree.
It sucks.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, look at when you're doing some drafting, look at the California teams because I mean there's a bunch of talent. It's insane. And
I also like teams that like to score, that are trying to score on every play. That's my type of players. I mean, it just makes it more fun, and it also gives you more of an opportunity.
We like to call that old school, where they like to score points.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like if you would give some like worldly wisdom. I know you don't have a story.
No stories
prepared.
Yet. Regular season stories only. My story for today was my .9.
Oh yeah, the .9 championship. You never know. So we've got, and we're going to be again weekly. It looks like we're probably going to be doing this Wednesdays at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to take you through everything. And again, we're going to do, everything that we can think of. We're going to take you through what we're doing. We're going to go through the busts. We're going to go through the booms. We're going to go through the great, everything.
Yeah, there's no point in us sitting here and rating all the players and doing it. You can turn on ESPN or NFL.com or, NFL Network or whatever. So
we're going to go through.
There's plenty of lists out there. Grab you a couple if you feel more comfortable with them.
Get online. You can find everything that you need.
Yeah.
Go ahead and grab it. We're going to do a Kansas City plays SL. Yes, they do.
Yes.
You're absolutely right, Shaka.
I did really well with Kansas City players last year.
We had a bunch.
Really well.
I've been like, what are we doing?
I just loaded up with
Sometimes I just have to, when I talk to them in the morning, I just have to go, all right, I'm going to listen to
you. Yeah. Stack them up.
So we've seen some movies this summer.
Yeah.
Between the two of us, we've seen quite a few movies.
A few. Some good ones, some bad ones. Well, not bad.
I'm going to start off.
I don't go to bad ones, but
I think I want to say because summer movies used to start first, second week of May. Back in the day, like when I was a kid, that was the summer movie season. That's usually you get a Spielberg film, Lucas film. You get something in, the second or third week of May, I would assume. But now we're looking like it's starting in like March and maybe like the end of March and then going into April. And there are a bunch of movies. One that I really enjoyed that I didn't think I would like was Ready Player One. I'd read the book and loved the book. And most times the movie's just not as good as the book. But this time I felt like they did a really good job. If you haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun. And it's one of those films you can watch 3 or 4 times and pick up more and more and more. Really good cast. Steven Spielberg, kind of going back to being old Stevie Spielberg, the guy that we like that's pumping out summer movies. So that one's on DVD. That's on demand right now. Take a look at it. I would definitely recommend that. The next one, not so much a blockbuster, but I think in its own right it is. Super Troopers 2, which I took this young man to see for his 76th birthday.
Not kicking and screaming because I'm a huge fan of the Broken Lizard Troop.
And we damn near fell on the floor.
Yeah.
Laughing at the film. This is the best fantasy show going. Thank you, Shaka.
Yeah.
You just need to be like
Super Troopers 2
you need
is
to be our
now out
co-host.
in DVD.
Yes,
and
we've
is
got the extra
Super Troopers 2.
extra super special crazy. It is absolutely fall on the floor hysterical.
It almost didn't get made. They had like a GoFundMe or whatever it is to raise the money to even make the movie.
Well, it took them, what, 15 years to make another
Yeah.
one?
And
We actually were in the theater to see the first one.
yeah,
Um,
and it's become a cult thing since then. And they raised the money, they made the movie, and it far exceeded expectations.
it was everything that you wanted and more.
Yeah.
Plus, they really made fun of
irreverent humor.
to all my Canadian friends. I love you.
Yeah.
They just ripped Canadians. I don't know where they came up with that, but man, they just like lit into the Canadians, and it was.
Oh, and they had Rob Lowe as
Rob.
It was in it quite a lot. They brought back Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman, Linda Carter. And I mean, it's just.
But those guys are so good, and they tour together. They write together. Jay Chandra Shankar, who directs all of their movies, actually is one of the top TV directors on television right now, especially with ABC. I'm assuming that's who he's got a contract with, because he directs almost all of their sitcoms. But the group itself just didn't have any dust on them. They just went, and that movie was, I mean, we saw it, like on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, just we're rolling out, like throwing bits at each other yet again. So what was the next one we saw? I want to say.
Well, I've seen, let's see, I saw Equalizer 2.
Yep.
Which is very good.
I did not. You did dig that movie, though.
The most recent movie I've seen was actually Mission Impossible.
You did not dig that movie.
It's 2.5 hours of Tom Cruise stunts. And it's done quite well. And
there's nobody that'll ever know how to love Tom Cruise like Tom Cruise.
Yep.
And I know he's,
he makes a good action movie.
But I read, like, people are saying this is his best action film of the last 5 years. It's,
And before that, I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Shelley, yes, my dad's shirt. Our friend Shelley out of Chi-Town. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
Yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Which did the kid went with us to that one.
Yes.
Another great.
Yeah, that was very well done. That was a sequel to Ant-Man.
And they took a little bit different turn with that one.
Yeah.
But worked out a lot of great action sequences.
With Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly and Michael Douglas. That was very well done.
And Michael Pena, who's just.
Yeah, Michael Pena was.
That guy is just hysterical.
At the start of the year, we saw Black Panther, which obviously has had a terrific run, and it was very well done.
Shaka thinks that Equalizer 2 was better than the first one. I haven't seen it.
I enjoyed it very much. It was totally different than the first one.
I actually saw an interview. There's this thing that Grey Goose does. It's really odd. You can find it on YouTube. That Jamie Foxx does like 15-minute interviews with famous people. And I don't know how they hooked this up. And he did an interview with Denzel. And Denzel himself, Denzel's a man of few words, said, Equalizer 2, I love the script. It was better than the first one. Just go see it. He goes, I'm telling you, I trust Denzel.
Yeah.
So, what was another one? We saw Avengers, Infinity War.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
No.
I cried a little bit. My daughter was bawling. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but
well, it's out on DVD and Blu-rays and everything else.
It just came out Tuesday.
Came out
on Tuesday.
We don't want to spoil.
We started to see finally the Marvel puzzle. All the pieces start to get put together.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. And the Russo brothers who directed it did a really good job. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And I can only imagine how hard it was to direct it. And they did a really, really good, like, I thought that if a Marvel movie was going to suck, that was going to be it. And we've talked about this. At some point, a Marvel movie is going to fail at the box office. No two ways about it. It's just going to happen. It's inevitable. And I thought that maybe this would be it.
Nope.
And it wasn't.
Nope.
It's a great movie.
Good stuff.
Really, really, really good. It was made like
We were afraid they were going to have an X-Men meltdown, like
X-Men
last
Apocalypse,
X-Men.
which was
Yeah.
just a god awful film.
Another movie we saw that was very irreverent in the Super Trooper mold, of course, was Deadpool 2, and that movie was phenomenal.
So good. Completely lived up to the hype.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about a movie that was as good as the first one.
And I tell you what, just the guys the two guys, and I wish I knew their names. I don't right now. I don't have it in front of me. The two guys that wrote this one, who also wrote the first one, and I think Ryan Reynolds actually got I think he got like a third billing writing credit on this one. Just understand the characters so well. It's just so well written.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, they're not spending a lot of money on this movie. I mean, there's not a ton of special effects and stuff. They've got a really good director who was on John Wick and was on Atomic Blonde.
Robert Leach, I believe. His name is.
And it is just, I mean, I could watch it 100 times. The movie's so good.
Yeah.
Funny. I mean, action-packed like the first one. Beginning to end.
And the advertising campaign leading up to it was phenomenal.
They're brilliant.
Having Ryan Reynolds
the way that they use
goofy stuff was,
the way they use social media
was terrific.
Is really, really good.
They built up the audience and I'm sure got a lot of extra people to come to see the movie that maybe wouldn't have.
Actually, I was thinking about it because the movie, it comes out on DVD next week. And I was thinking about the first movie because I own it and I've seen it about 500 times. But I was thinking about the quotes, and I was when they were talking about Wolverine, he's got a smooth pair. He's got a pair of smooth criminals down under. Talking about Wolverine and how the movie got the original Deadpool movie got made. But yeah, again, they're irreverent humor, ultra violent, super fast.
Yeah.
I saw Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Popcorn movie. Good. Action packed. 2 hours fly by. Boom, boom, boom. But it's one of those, like, the story. It's like you feel like somebody went like, okay, Jurassic World 2. And they were like 2 paragraphs. And they're like, there we go. And that's the movie. Because it's like, there's Chris Pratt. And Chris Pratt's like, I'm not going back to Jurassic World with those 3. And like 5 minutes later, he's back. And he's with the dinosaurs. And then it's like, oh, this guy is not the evil guy. And, of course, he turns out to be the evil guy. And, I mean, it's just one of those movies that you see everything coming like a mile away. But my daughter and I saw it in IMAX, which was actually a pretty great experience. But it's a popcorn movie. It's like one of these. It's a 2-hour film. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to think at all. And you
I
just
thought that I stayed home. How's that? That was my thought.
Well, you know, and I'm looking at some of these films.
By the way, before we wrap up, I think it's only fair to give a shout out to the Big Lebowski.
Oh, sure.
You know why?
Why?
20th anniversary.
Oh.
20th anniversary.
Go watch it
this
tonight.
month.
Go watch it.
Terrific movie. Terrific movie.
Yep.
Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, Julianne Moore, John Turturro, and on and on and on. Phenomenal movie.
Peter Stormare, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
A cast of thousands. I think a very young Tara Reid.
Yes.
Before she got hooked on the booze.
Yep, that was Tara Reid.
Was it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he was drinking
White Russians. Oh, and Sam Elliott is
I got a beverage here, man.
Yeah, Sam Elliott is the narrator. Terrific movie.
Can't go wrong with it.
No.
Can't go wrong. All right, folks. Well, that's going to wrap it up for Rick on the Rocks and Dad, Fantasy Football Draft Special / Summer Movie Wrap-Up Extravaganza. We're going to be coming to you next week, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about some fantasy. We're going to talk about some preseason games. And maybe I'll get my friend Shaka back here. Maybe Shelly Van Weitzenberg will come and join us. I did see that my friend Art Eddy, who Art Eddy has interviewed, who works as one of the co-founders of lifeofdad.com. Go take a look at them. Maybe we can get our good friend Art Eddy on the show to talk about some football, because the guy's interviewed everyone in the NFL.
Everyone?
Wow. In the NFL. He's interviewed so many people in the NFL, he's having to move on to other sports.
Oh.
So, everyone, have a wonderful weekend. Again, thank you for watching Rick on the Rocks and Dad. Any parting?
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.
How was it?